All right, it's BourbonBlog Live. We're live today with midday drink, which I always enjoy, and I know my good friend Trey Zoller, chief strategist and founder at Jefferson's, also enjoys. Trey's joining us from the distillery today in Kentucky. How's it going there, Trey?
It's going great. You know what? We're pumping out some liquid today, and we are quiet Monday and Tuesday for tours, but Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday, we got them rocking, and they're packed. So love to get you in here if you're interested, but book early, so you can come see what we're doing.
Excellent. So tours are happening. You can go online and book those, and usually you need to book early, right?
Yeah, sure do. We're fortunate that we've been able to keep our doors open for the last few months, and people seem to love it. When you come here, you get a real hard hat tour. You're back in the distillery. You're seeing everything. So, yeah, come on. We're doing them on the hour. We're limiting them to 8 people right now. So we're nice and safe and social distancing and doing everything by protocol and getting them in and out. But people are loving it. So are we. It's great to see people here.
That's great. Well, we'll be there soon. Glad to have you with us virtually today to talk about a few things, what's happening at the distillery, but also the newest release, this incredible rye whiskey finished in Cognac cask that was just released in the last couple months. We were first to talk about it on BourbonBlog. It's delicious. Tell us about this. I haven't actually had a sip of this with you yet, so this is our first virtual sip of this one. I know I tried it a year or two ago with you. It's already delicious. What do we have here?
We have some fully mature rye whiskey. It's a 95% rye that we finished in cognac barrels for it's really 9. We did a couple of 9 months, but most of this was all aged for 18 months or finished for 18 months, which gives just a great mouthfeel on it. I love rye whiskey.
Yes.
We have been out of the rye business for 7-8 years now, so it's so great to get back into it. When I wanted to get back in, I wanted to do something a little bit different. I wanted to make it a sipping rye. And previously, the 10-year-old rye that we had, it was one of 2 products that I really didn't do anything with other than distill it, age it, cut it to proof, and bottle it. Wow. So I knew when we were going to come out with our next rye, we were going to do something different. So we wanted to have really mature whiskey to start with. And then the thing I love about ryes is also some things that are kind of a detriment about it. I love that big, sharp rye taste that's up front. And then what's great about it is it kind of gets dry and quiet afterwards and allows components of cocktails to really do their work. And so that's why it's such a great component in a cocktail. But when I'm drinking it neat, to me, it's a little thin. It's a little one-dimensional. So I wanted to really make a sipping rye. And that's why I decided to go ahead and try to do this in cognac barrels. I thought that would put a lot of weight onto it and would give it a lot of more dimensions. And it gives a lot more characters and that fruit flavor, that citrus that comes out, the honey, the oranges, peaches that really come through. Help bevel the edge. You're still getting that big thrust of spice up front, but you're getting something so much more complex and so much more to it than something that's one-dimensional. And that's why I think it's such a great sipping whiskey.
Oh, I agree. The whole idea. Sorry. I think I was going
to say one of the great things about it is the weight that comes through with that.
Yeah.
As I said, ryes can be a little thin because of that one-dimensionalness. It's just such a nice mouthfeel, and that's what really makes this thing such a great sipper.
Yes, it is an incredible sipper, and I was sorry about that. I was going to say, there's a lot of dimensions, a lot of layers you have put on this. Was this I know you've done a lot of different barrel experiments over the years. You've done, some of the French barrels from the Chateau Pichon Baron, the Sauterne cask. Was this your first adventure into cognac casks? Had you?
It is. Those? Yeah, the first time we've ever played around with cognac casks, and we used quite a few different ones. We did some VSOPs, some VSOs, so some XOs. So it's kind of a variety of different cognac casks that we put together, and really enjoyed what it came out, what was brought into this finish because of that. And these barrels are used many times, so there's a lot of absorption. And we take this and we do the same thing that we've done with other finishes. We put it in what I call hot boxes, which are shipping containers. So a hot day in Kentucky, if it's 90 degrees outside, it's 125 in there. And that helps sweat that liquid out into the existing whiskey. And that's why over time that really shows so much out. So you do get a lot of cognac out of here, but you still get the thrust out of that rye too.
Incredible. And I think that's interesting. You use some different ages, some VSOPs as you tasted the finishes on different barrels and decided on the right blend. What did you see from the older and the younger cognac cask? What were your, what did you see that you were maybe surprised by, that you enjoyed, and how did the blend come together?
Well, you also had different sized barrels. And what I did find is that the smaller barrels, which are approximately the size of a bourbon barrel, gave out more flavor. So your bigger casks that are, like 69 gallons plus, you just don't get as much contact with the wood. So it did not impart as much flavor.
Right.
So that's really what the main difference was. And I was surprised that we finished it for as long as we did. But it kept bringing in more flavor to it without overpowering it all. So it really kept going on as a compliment.
Yeah. So, and again, the longest you finished any of the barrels, what did you say, 9 months, was it?
18 months was
18 months. Wow, that's a long. Beautiful, beautiful. And again, this one is out right now. It is at least, it's fairly limited, but we're going to see this every year then.
Correct. Yeah, this is going to be a once-a-year release, and I think we've had such great response to it. I want to pick up production on it, so maybe even a bigger release next year on it. But I have a feeling this is going to go quickly.
Yes.
Stores that have had it, I've seen quick churn on it, so it's being received extremely well. So I'm very, very excited about it. I love it. This past year, I've spent a lot of time around our fire pit. I've had a lot of friends come over and drop in, and we drank quite a bit of the Rye Whiskey, which I typically would never have done. But we'll sit and just sip on this. This is great meat, incredibly easy with a rock or two on it. So
yeah, it's so approachable. The sugars are there. The elegance of a nice French cognac comes across with. It's beautiful. And again, we will see this from year to year. With regard to just your rye whiskey, are you thinking you do anything else with your rye whiskey in the future?
Yeah, we'll have some more releases of the rye. We now have been making rye for almost 7 years here at the distillery. And I don't want to rush anything out, but now that we've got something that's come of age, then we're going to go ahead and play with it and see what else we can do.
There may be some other
excited about
that we may be seeing. That's very exciting. Also, recently the single barrel program. We've enjoyed some single barrels. They've all been incredible. Trey, tell us about the single barrel program.
Well, so we do have a number of different single barrels. We did about 500 this year, and we'll probably that was down from some years ago. But we just didn't have the juice to put it in single barrels. And we're building that back up. So hopefully we'll have about twice that this next year. We now have a chief barrel officer, Dan, who has been saying no too often. So I'm trying to get him enough barrels that he can say yes a lot more to. But we did launch a Jefferson's Reserve single barrel in 100 proof.
Yes.
And so that's the only higher proof that we've done with Jefferson's Reserve. The single barrel, it's all 100 proof. None of it is at 90.2. So you're going to have a little bit of differentiation because of the single barrel and the higher proof. People have loved it. Those things have sailed right out on us. That extra proof gives it a lot of dimension, a lot of different flavors as well. So That's been great. We'll also be coming out later in the year with our Pritchard Hill cask finish, our rum cask finish, and our Twin Oak, as well as some ocean barrels and single barrel options as well.
And we'll be seeing more of the Pritchard Hill and the rum. Will that be in the summer or the fall? When we be
Early fall.
Early fall.
Early fall.
Early fall. To look forward to those new releases. Well, we've had them before, but the new releases for this year, the Pritchard Hill, of the Twin Oak, of the rum, which we always enjoy, and of course the ocean. Trey, I mean, obviously I've been a fan of the ocean for many, many years. Always love including it in tastings we do far and wide. You were just on the OSearch recently. What's the latest ocean going to be looking like?
Well, we just got 25 back, and we loved it. It tastes great. I've also got 4 barrels. So I was just on the ship down in Georgia, on the Georgia coast, and tapped in. We've got 4 barrels on that ship that we're auctioning off for charities.
Wow.
So all the proceeds are going to go straight into OSearch.org. So typically when you buy a barrel of ocean, or a bottle of ocean, I should say, as Chris Fischer, the expedition leader, says, you drink bourbon and you're doing good, because every time that you buy a bottle, we're donating to the ship. But these specific barrels that we keep on the OSearch for a year at a time, they've been aged, I believe this last one, they were 5 years old when we put them on there. So they've been on there for an additional years, for 6 years. That full year of aging on it really gave some great flavors. They went all the way up to Nova Scotia, back down to Florida. So they've done some traveling, and it's on a smaller boat, so it rocks a little bit more. And again, those barrels and bottles are going to be auctioned off, and all the proceeds are going to OSearch. So we're going to go ahead and take those off the ship now and start the bottling process up in the next 30 days.
That's incredible.
Yeah, Tom, I'd love to share with you and your viewers where you can get in on the auctions.
Yeah. Yes. And do we know that where will the link be, or where will we?
Well, we'll have that put together and sent out to you.
Great. We'll make sure we share that. Raising funds for OSearch. Tell us. I mean, I'm familiar with it. Tell us about OSearch.
Yeah, OSearch is a great organization that Chris put together. What he does on his ship, the OSearch, which when we first started this venture together, the ship was called the Ocean. It's the same font that we have on the bottle as well. And his ship, which is a 120-foot Russian trawler, has a big lift on the side of it. It used to lift a 40-foot sport fishing boat on top of it, so it can handle some pretty hefty weight. So what Chris and his team do is they catch, tag, and release great white sharks. He's caught over 100 of the largest of all time. He has scientists from all over the globe, from every university, aquarium, marina that wants to come aboard. He gives them a free platform to come down, measure, tag, study the data points that they collect, not only when they have access to the shark, which is lifted out of the water onto that lift, but also as they tag the shark. And then when that dorsal fin surfaces out of the ocean for over 30 seconds, they're able to get a spot tag on it and see exactly where it's pinging, or what its migration patterns are, or where they're giving birth. And it's basically, as he would describe it, it's like following the apex predator in the Serengeti, the lion, to find out the health of the Serengeti or the ocean, because it's impossible to count fish, but you can get a good handle on what's going on with the population of the white shark, which, as he says, they're winning, which keeps the balance of the ocean in order. It's all about abundance and sustainability. He's got 55 papers that have been written off the OSearch ship. He boils down his mission very, very easily to say that this is all about making sure our grandkids have fish sandwiches to eat. So we're very happy to support them and continue their great work and that open source platform. It's kind of like a Google approach versus most scientists, which rely on grants. They get very protective of their information that they gather because they want to continue to get grants. His platform is take it. Anybody that wants it, it's yours. Let's help build on top of this in order to maintain sustainability and abundance. So it's a great organization and a great cause.
Excellent cause. You all have done so much great work with the Trey, and we're really coming up. It will be 2022. Will be 10 years of Ocean, won't it?
It will be. We bottled the first Ocean Voyage in 2012. We actually put barrels on the ship for the first time in 2008. So that first voyage, we put Newfill on. That stayed on his ship for 3.5 years before it was ready to go ahead and be bottled up. So it's been a hell of a journey. And as I said, we're about to bottle our 25th voyage, which is amazing.
25 voyages, almost 10 years. There's people that I know that have collected every single voyage. The more I've been out doing tastings, events, people have more and more people have really enjoyed the Ocean. You're making more of it. What's it mean to you? I mean, as you look back, as you look forward at growing the Ocean, what are your thoughts on 10 years?
Well, I had a couple of things happen just in the last couple of days.
Yeah.
One, I had an interview with somebody yesterday. He said that he bought his first better bourbon, which was Jefferson's Ocean, and that's what he and his groomsmen drank prior to him getting married and then post-marriage as well, which I thought was very cool. I also sent down a bottle for some friends of mine that are getting married in Charleston to bury a bottle that they will dig up on their wedding day that I'll be able to enjoy with them at the time.
Right.
So I think that's tremendously cool. We've actually had an organic Jefferson's Ocean Bourbon fan club page arise on Facebook, where we've got a couple thousand members, and they are so active and posting and talking about different voyages. And we're going to get together this summer for a regatta, and I think in the Long Island Sound or somewhere thereabouts, and hopefully have the OSearch on board with this program and be able to have that up there as well and bring some people on top of that. But, the great thing about the Ocean is it's two things. One, it's a great story that people can understand what transformed within the whiskey to make it a bourbon and why it brings out the special flavors that it does, why it matures kind of in an accelerated way, and how it brings out flavors like the salt that permeates the barrel and the caramelization of the sugars that gives it a salted caramel flavor. So people love that. They can understand it with that story. And I love almost everybody that writes about it always starts off saying, I thought it was a gimmick, and then I tried it. So, proof's in the pudding. That's, you can't help but love to hear people talk about those actions and results. And then when we did the reenactment of the Jefferson journey of how to take barrels and float them down the Ohio and the Mississippi River to New Orleans, put it on other ships and sail it around to Florida, back up to New York, and have popular mechanics break the bourbon down molecularly versus bourbon that was distilled the same day and aged in Kentucky, and see the science behind what happened. That's really satisfying as well. So it's a great story. It has incredible results, and each voyage is a little bit different. So you get to kind of follow along with what happened during the voyage to see why it tastes the way it does.
They're also so different and also delicious and true. And I'm on that Facebook page. It's exciting. It'll be exciting to see what happens next. Of course, it led to the journey, reenacting that, as you mentioned. As you look forward, any other experiments that you're able to discuss or that you've always wanted to try that you're still thinking about what's next?
We have something going on right now that it's going to be about a year before it's ready, but I think it's going to be a total game changer. It's like something that's never been done previously, and we've had hundreds of experiments going on, regularly since 2008 to 2012 is really when we started doing a lot of the innovations. And this is one that's really proved out on a few barrels, and now we're going to take it to a larger scale so we can bring it out commercially, and really excited about what's coming out with that in the future.
Excellent. Well, we look forward to that. We're excited about the rye and everything you're doing. What are we looking at behind you? What's aging behind you there, Trey?
Oh, those are just some old, from our first experimental packs and some of our chefs' collaborations that we've been aging. Those have been up there. We probably filled some of those in 2012, actually. We've got kind of what I call a spice rack down in one of our warehouses right now, which is about 100 different types of barrels of different iterations. Actually, you can see I'm actually holding this up on a stave right here that we use for our twin oak, which is grooved out to give twice as much surface area. We put a flash char on it, and then we toast it to bring out mocha flavors. We use this proprietary barrel for our twin oak. So we've got a lot of different things like that bring out a lot of different flavors. So I call it a spice rack. So I can take a few barrels here, a few barrels there, to kind of add flavoring to get my nuances that I want to get out of there.
Excellent. No, that twin oak is so unique, and what you've done on that is something so delicious. Any questions for Trey? Do ask us below. I see some fans that are watching mentioning that they got your limited edition 30-year-old many years ago, and some others that we haven't seen for a while. Do you ever see any more of those really old ones? You see those occasionally at bourbon bars or in collections?
Yeah, not very often. Right before COVID, I had one of our sales guys come into Louisville, and he bought a pour of our Jefferson's Presidential Select.
Yep.
They're a 17-year-old. He paid more for that pour than I paid for the barrel originally. How about that? So I think I bought the barrel in 2011. It was a 17-year-old distilled at this Zoeller distillery. That Julian Van Winkle called me up and said, "Trey, you've got my whiskey. Will you sell it back to me?" One bottle at a time. I think I paid $1,200 a barrel at the time.
Wow.
And my sales guy paid $1,350 a pour.
And that was for the 30 or for which one?
17-year-old.
The 17.
I haven't seen the 30 pop up anywhere in a long time. I did see a 25, which the 25 was amazing. It should be way over oaked.
Right.
And it just wasn't. I don't know where the oak was. So that one turned out incredible. That 30-year-old is damn chewy. It is. It's over oaked. Yeah.
No, it's that's so amazing. I had a few pours of the 25 rye just a little over a year ago. We did a tasting, and it was upstate New York. Somebody had a bottle of that, and it was divine. It was the best thing that we had all night. And so it's now obviously it seems like nowadays you and I, something is $1,300 for a pour, a bottle, several thousand. We're not too surprised, but on some level, when you released some of these ago, is there a market?
We'll get surprised, and it's in very, very, very small volume, thick, and it was just delicious. That was a total surprise to me.
You in front of you, the distillery that.
Well, I can take you a quick walk through. We don't have anybody here right now.
Fun, yeah. If you're able to, sure, we'd love to see it.
Trying to think on this, if I can flip this thing around.
If you're able to.
All right, this is one of our tasting rooms. We just completed our new barrel tasting shack that is just down the road next door across the globe.
Excellent.